Hey Sam, guess what?
What?
Stahl's been the solution to the power play problems this whole time.
Apparently he has. Yeah, he was definitely in the Columbus game, Andrew. Now, power play didn't score the game against Washington, but of course we'll be recapping both of those games. But Andrew, I'm telling you that Washington game, that was something because we're just recording minutes after that game.
Yeah, that was a great goalie duel. Frankly, the Canes kind of dominated it till the third. So without Logan Thompson really stepping up, the Canes might have run away with that one. So bit of a goaltending performance, bit of the offense is still kind of struggling, but we'll take the
It
win.
has it has a little bit, but I can tell you this though, Andrew, the number one enemy for the Hurricanes this season has been the post, because I don't know how many times we've hit the post and it never goes posting in.
Yep, nope. They've had little to no puck luck all year, even when the offense has had their brief stints of like really clicking on a high level, which we have seen a little bit. So we know this
Yep,
team can do it, which is why I don't think there's any reason to panic at this point in the year. But man, can we get a bounce or two, please?
I know it very well be appreciated. Please post, please.
Please,
Okay,
hockey gods,
yeah.
spare us.
Alrighty. Well, as usual, remember we have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Reports, all one word. It is a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets. Remember, we also have the Caniac Report Plus. It is another way to listen to our episodes for you Apple listeners. If especially if you do not like listening to ads. And another thing too, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, please leave a rating and a review. Really does help us out. And another thing too, the day after Christmas, because Christmas falls on a Thursday, we will not be having an episode. So do not expect an episode that Friday. So Andrew, just again, we're going to be recapping two games here in this episode, so I kind of want to keep the news light. But one thing that's been swirling around a lot is obviously Vancouver. They're at the bottom of the standings, but there's obviously their big player in Quinn Hughes. Do you think he gets traded? I think at this point, I think he does. What's your
I
take
think
on that?
I think they'd be foolish not to. With that being said, when you look at the talent that team has wasted, I mean, granted, locker room problems you can't really control too much, but really asset mismanagement. So you have kind of a generational talent in Hughes that's just not working out as far as as far as the standings are concerned. So they have to cash in and just go to the highest bidder.
Yeah. What I would do, let's say if I was general manager, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to trade Quinn Hughes. And again, you don't really see teams going on full on rebuilds. I think the last team that's kind of done it was Chicago, Andrew, but it took them a long time to kind of get out of that. But
Mhm.
just package Quinn Hughes probably for maybe a couple of high picks or prospects, because I do think this is a team that needs to retool, Andrew. They have been known to like trade high value picks slash prospects to try to get better in the now, and it's just not working.
Yeah, they're not to throw unnecessary shade at the Rangers. Not that I mind doing it, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
kind of the Rangers of the West, in that you get why they've held on to this core for so long. But if anything, they're just a worse run version of the Rangers, because at least the Rangers still have a lot of those guys and have been kind of ruthless in moving out older pieces. Whereas, you know, Horvat looks absolutely awesome on the Islanders. JT Miller, even though there's been some concerns in New York, I think he at least fits what they're trying to do. But they were all in Vancouver, so now uh, the last kind of peg to fall, if you're not going to be able to move Pedersen, is Hughes, and you can get quite a haul from him, and enough that you can
yep.
really speed up that rebuild.
Definitely. And another thing too, I want to talk about Andrew. Well, fortunately for the Hurricanes, this has not happened to them yet, but recently in quite a few games, Tampa, Florida game comes to mind with goals being waved off by officials due to hand passes. It's very interesting because of a discussion, just because it seems like, well, what is a hand pass? Seems like that's the discussion that's going on.
Right, right. Is it like in soccer where if it just grazes your hand, then it's a handball type of thing, or does there have to be intent? It's kind of entered that same realm as like, was it a kicking motion or was he, stopping and that's why he put the puck in? But I feel like it's just one of those coincidence type things where it just happens to be occurring a lot in a short period of time because like it's always been a bit of a gray area rule, but I'm not really sure how you can take the gray out of a sport this fast.
Yeah, it is a bit difficult. Now again, this might be a hot take because pe- people listening to this knows I can be somewhat critical to of officials, but the hand passes that I've seen that's been called recently, like I actually think the officials kind of got those calls correct. Like the Brad
Same.
Marchand one, I thought that was correct because it wasn't, to me. I didn't see a passing motion with the hand; it just fell off of his hand. And I think the Braden Hagen goal, with or I think no, I think Gensel scored it, and then it was Hagel that kind of did the hand pass there. Um, that I thought was intense. So I actually thought the officials called it correctly. Did you see those calls?
Yeah, I think if it's just gonna make contact with the hand like it did with Marchand, then that's not intent. That's the same thing as playing it off of any part of the body. But if there's an actual redirect going on, then if it's that obvious, then I do think that is the correct call. But again, I think it's just become a bit of a hot button issue because we've had a few of them happen in a short period of time that were of some consequence. But I don't see it as a real need for any type of digging in as far as the league is concerned. Just kind of a funny coincidence of a little bit of ambiguity in the rule book. We'll be
Yeah,
talking about this for a few more days, and then we'll be back to arguing about what even is goalie interference.
exactly. Well, I mean, the heart of this podcast is obviously talking about the Hurricanes, Andrew. Hurricanes are mostly known when it comes to goals being waved off of goalie interference, not hand passes. But it might come. You never know. So,
Sadly, whatever Tripp says, it's going to be the opposite. For a Harvard grad and a pretty darn good goalie and in his own right, even Tripp has no idea.
yeah, exactly. I know there are some people I do not like Trip. I am not one of those people. I love Trip. I really,
We
really
have
do.
discussed this. The Caniac report rides for Trip Tracy.
Yes, we do. We definitely do. Uh, So that's kind of it for us talking about stuff around the league. And Andrew, let's get to talk about the Hurricanes here. In the last episode, I gave my 3 stars of the month of November. Again, I know this is a little bit late, but Andrew, I kind of want to give you a second to give your 3 stars of the month of November.
All right. Well, first star has got to be Bussy. We're going to get into him a lot in this podcast, but we'll keep it short for now. Two, I'm going to give it to the captain, Jordan Stahl. I think this
Okay.
month could have really gone haywire without not only his offensive production, but he just continues to be that calming voice in the room, just doing every little small thing right, and it's infectious. And for me right now, if I had to give an MVP of the team in general, I'm going to give the third star of the month to a Ghost. Just continues to
Ghost.
produce, has been excellent on defense. He's been paired up with a few different people, which is always a bit of a challenge. But yeah, Ghost has been awesome. I really hope that we get a chance to see a Ghost Slavin pair because I think Slavin's more than talented enough to play his offside and let Ghost keep doing his thing.
Oh, I completely agree. And I mean, this was an episode I did like during like preseason ish times where I was kind of listing out kind of like the possible D pairs. That was one of them, and I'd love to see that. I think it'd be very unique. But my 3 stars in the last episode, Andrew. Uh, I had Bussy at number 3, actually. I had Ghost at number 2, and number 1, like, I mean, he's our leading goal scorer. I put Seth Jarvis at number 1, so
that's fine. That's fine. I always try to look for the not obvious goal scoring guys to
I
put in there.
understand.
Yeah, well, I like to think that I'm smarter than I actually am. So that's what that is. I'll call it for what it is. You're right. The guy putting up the goals to win the games. What a concept.
Yeah. Well,
Reinventing the wheel over here.
it's all how you approach your 3 stars, and I mean, it's just one of those things where some of it's opinionated, but obviously, like, I mean, it's not like you're gonna put like KK in the top 3 stars or anything, but
I mean, maybe his absence. I hate to say it, buddy, but
yeah, his absence, I would agree, probably top 3. But sorry, love you, KK, as a person, but it's just as a player, you have not been good. But
get well soon, please. Make me look back on this and say, "Wow, what a fool!" But until then, buddy.
Exactly. Well, speaking of KK, obviously he's kind of dealing with an injury, Andrew. But
Kicking the
I
man while
think,
he's down.
yeah. Well, I had him in the show notes, and I was like, well, that's a good segue into talking about him. But KK, obviously he's out with injury, and listen, even if he wasn't injured, like the way Jankowski's playing right now, Andrew, I put Jankowski in there over KK. I think he's a safer bet than KK, because KK, I'm sure if you know, Andrew, he's kind of lost his defensive assignments a little bit here recently.
Yeah, and something you could always say about him is like he was always at least like solid defensively, not quite to what he could be, but like shows enough potential. And when he occasionally popped off offensively, it made it somewhat worth it. So I think it's still the case of maybe his ceiling is higher, but his floor is also lower than Jankowski's. I think he could still provide some really important depth down the stretch, but at this point, if there was a big fish out there, I think if he got traded to the right team, he could turn into sort of like that Jordan Stahl type player for another team. But from the looks of it, I don't think Jordan Stahl is going anywhere anytime soon.
No, but I mean, obviously, at some point, we know Stahl's going to retire. The thing is with KK, Andrew, and I'm sure you would agree with this. Like, defensively, Stahl is like, I mean, he's one of our best defensive players on the team, and just the way KK is playing, I just don't think he's near there.
I don't think he's near there. I think in the right situation, he could grow into it, but that's also a big, what if?
It's a big what if, yeah.
Right. I think if you're a team kind of, maybe trying to reestablish a identity or a culture, maybe taking a guy with, he is still kind of young. He still has those like flashes where you can see, okay, there's the talent that made you get picked where you did. Why can't you put it all together? So maybe you take a guy from a Rod Brind'Amour system for years, put him into like I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but it's like a team kind of going through like an overall just cultural shift. I think he could be valuable for that. And I think he just needs a change of scenery, which sucks because it seems like he's really popular in the room. But push comes to shove, that's one of the reasons these guys get paid what they do is because, friendships are nice, but if you're not producing, then hang out in the summer.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talked about change of scenery. One, I do agree with that. But second, I feel like we already talked about a team in this episode that could use a change of scenery. And again, I'm not saying we get Quinn Hughes, obviously, but Vancouver might benefit from having a KK type of player,
Yeah, and they've been linked to him before, so they obviously have some interest in him. I mean, I can see why teams are interested in him. I've been, even before I was doing this podcast, I've always kind of been a defender of Kotkaniemi because I can see it, but it's frustrating because like it's so the the skill set is incredibly obvious. It's just it's something between the ears. So I don't know. Maybe this is just a guy that maybe to no fault of his own, Rod just can't get through to. Maybe it's just the system doesn't fit him, which does happen. There's no denying that a big reason why he's here, even though like our scouting department did like him, he was drafted just after his fetch. It was a bit of a grudge play by Dundon against Montreal because I think he felt really insulted when they did the offer sheet to Aho, basically kind of assuming that they could throw what was a pretty reasonable offer and that he would just kind of
Mhm.
buckle down, which which understandably when you got that kind of money, hurt his ego, and that's why KK's here.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. So, Andrew, let's talk about the goaltending because obviously Brandon Boozy, he is playing amazing, Andrew. But as you and I know, it is very hard to keep three goalies on this
Mhm.
roster. So, Bussy, we know he's playing fantastic. KK, obviously, I think we know he's kind of the second best goalie as of right now.
Mhm.
Uh, I think some of it is due to performance, but I think probably the biggest thing is just because of just how Anderson has been. Just because I mean, I think Anderson's the third best goalie. What do you do in this situation?
I think you have to ride it out a little bit longer just because of the health questions with both Freddie and PK. I do think there is a very realistic possibility that if they were to make a move of impact, even if it's one that helped out, say like the center depth or it was involved in a Hughes trade, something like
Hmm.
that, where you do that and then a week later PK gets hurt, Freddie gets hurt, and now you're in a worse position than you were. So that's kind of the tricky thing about it, but I think both Piotr and Freddie are both at this point should be playing as if they want to stay because
Hmm.
if I'm Tolsky, those are two of my biggest trade chips right now. Is both of them.
Oh, I mean, I completely agree. I would say probably right now, let's say if I was general manager, I'd probably be like, okay, I'm gonna keep these three goalies for the time being. But probably, and I probably wait till the new year starts and be like, okay, if Bussy is still playing like he is heading into the new year, I'm like, okay, we have much more of much. He has a lot more games under his belt. It seems like at this point he's the starter. It's just non-negotiable. Then I think once the new year hits, you probably be like, okay, we might explore another trade of Anderson. Although I probably would play Anderson one more time between now and the start of the new year, just to be like, okay, this is your last chance. And if you don't play well again, I think Anderson's on the trade block. More so, I think more so than Kachekov.
I think depending on what happens, like if nothing about what's happening right now changes as far as the trajectory of both goalies, because we've seen very good, even great from Kachekov this season. He's had a couple of bad games, but he has shown you, that potential that has us all still kind of hoping that he becomes, this starting goalie. But Freddie has had periods of good. And I don't mean like extended periods of time, like legit periods of hockey where he looks good. And then it'll be the end of the second, soft goal goes in and it derails the whole thing. Which kudos to Bussy tonight. There were a couple of times against Washington where they almost got that back-breaking late period of goal, and he shut the door.
Yep.
So until further notice, it's Bussy's net, Kachekov second. With I think he should still get his fair crack at proving he is the better goalie, just because this is no slight to Bussy. What he's doing is absolutely incredible, and we all obviously hope he keeps it up. But 11 games is still a pretty small sample size. But doing it with a battered decor, the team's been sick, and he's still putting up performances like this, and not against scrub teams like Washington. Granted, they took him a while to pick it up. They got some really dangerous opportunities, and Carolina was kind of soft in front of him tonight, to be frank, and only give up 2 goals and to be solid in the shutout. But here's a hot take for you. And
Mhm.
I know we were talking about this a bit
Yeah.
before the episode, and I just put this together, so there is a little bit of NHL GM mode going in my brain right now. But if I can think of one thing about this team I want to fix, and even though he scored a goal tonight, it's not a slight against the player. It's a concern about, at least here and now, what he's capable of doing at the 2C in Stankoven. I wonder if a team like, say, Edmonton, who is a goalie of even what Freddie's doing right now, away from maybe winning a cup, because you picture Freddie Anderson on last year's finals, not Skinner or Pickard. I think there's a real chance that Freddie's got a ring on right now.
Yep. Mhm.
So I wonder if you could package Freddie some picks, maybe even a Nystrom or a Legault, and get, say, Riot Nugent Hopkins, a bit of a rental 2C, better than anything they've had, probably even better than Trocheck, with all due respect. Um, yeah, something to think about. If the listeners have anything kind of comparable, or think that they could top that idea, I'm down to hear it. But just kind of spitballing here. I kind of like that for both teams.
Yeah, I think you've identified a very good trade partner in Edmonton, just because they are looking for a goalie. Apparently, rumors is they've been linked to Tristan Jarry, of course, but obviously, not only is Edmonton, I think, could be a good trading partner, but we know ideally if we do trade Anderson, is hopefully to get like a big center guy. Now, I'm not
Mhm,
saying Nuka Hopkins is a big guy, but he definitely would solve the second line center issue, you know?
mhm. Someone who's been struggling for Edmonton that I really liked. Granted, I got to see him a lot because he was a Bruin, but if we wanted to add some toughness, Trent Frederick.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, I don't know if he's 2C material, but I mean, if he's can be a package coming back for Freddie, maybe him and like another defenseman to add some depth. I mean, at this point, we're you know speculating for the fun of it, but I mean, with how Freddie's played, I mean, why not? And for his sake, if you're going to lose your spot to these two up and coming, younger goalies, then why not put yourself in a position to maybe go for a run at the end? Not that he couldn't do that with Carolina, but I mean, Edmonton, assuming they can, really like fully figure it out. I think with everything going on with like Florida and everything, I think this could be, all of the planets are lining for them if they can just get a little bit of consistency in that.
Yeah, I completely agree. So now we're going to recap the two games here, Columbus and Washington. But before we do, we are going to be getting to a sponsor. Every yard, every sack, every interception, and every touchdown. With Pick 6, DraftKings' newest game, every snap can turn into a big time payout. This isn't just watching the game, this is playing to win. Here's how it works: pick more or less on two or more player stats. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. It's that simple. And here's the kickoff bonus: new DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. You know the game. Now make it pay. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus, age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer. Alrighty. So, the Columbus game. Before we even get to the game, Andrew, we know that was the 20th anniversary game of them winning the cup. What was your impression on the whole ceremony?
Uh, it made me feel old. That was my impression of it. Wow, that was 20 years ago, man. But it was just cool to see those guys back together. You can really feel how going through a journey like that just bonds a group of people. So I loved I had never seen this video, and for such a Hurricanes, dork like me, the fact that I had never seen this is kind of crazy. The video of after they won the cup, Rod dancing in the locker room, and for such like a stoic, serious guy, seeing him just cutting loose like that, it was great
Yeah,
stuff, man.
I haven't seen that either
Yeah, great
until
stuff.
that moment. Yeah.
But yeah, just good looking down memory lane. I wish the team. I mean, granted they got the win, but I wish they performed a little bit better because that was probably kind of close to Rod. Having his buddies over to like his kids' team that he coaches. It probably felt kind of similar. So when they came out a little flat, which they always do for every at home ceremony, so it's not even that surprising. But just good memories. What a group. And I still think there's times where they don't fully get the recognition that they deserve, because a lot of times you'll hear them be talked about as like one of the least dominant cup winning teams. I've heard them be talked about that way, but
Yeah.
not
Same
that,
here.
that stacked, absolutely stacked. I mean, Doug Waite, Recchi being trade deadline acquisitions, Stahl at his peak, Brendan Moore being the absolute, grizzled veteran leader, the wizard, Cam Ward going nuts. Just such a great team, man.
Oh, it really, really was. I would say one thing about the ceremony that probably a little bit caught off guard. I still thought it was great for the record. I really did. Uh, I thought they would have had probably a little bit more players from the '06 team come out to the ice, just a little bit more. But other than that, listen, I love seeing those players back. Obviously, we got to see Peter Laviolette back. Um, it was nice to see him. Nice to see Glenn Wesley. Obviously, Ray Whitney was there, and Andrew, that ceremony, the person that caught me off guard, he wasn't a player. I didn't know he was going to be hosting it at all, but Chuck Caton, hearing his voice again, that was awesome. I was completely shocked when I heard his voice.
Yeah, like a real like kind of core childhood memory on unlocking with his voice. Because I mean, granted, by the time we were coming up, like the radio wasn't as big of a
Yeah.
means to follow the sport. But I mean, driving home from the arena and listening to his post game, like just such an iconic voice and an iconic person in the game of hockey. So I was glad he came back to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I loved his voice. I thought he was every time I listen to the radio and I hear his voice, I'm like, man, he is just so good. He really, really is. So great ceremony. Now let's get to the game, Andrew. So honestly, first period, I didn't think looked that good for the Hurricanes. And you had Voronkov scoring. What'd you think of that goal?
Uh, just kind of sloppy play in front,
Yep.
some bad luck, and it squeaks in. You can definitely tell that they kind of came out sleepy because of the ceremony, which to an extent you get. Like all ceremonies are special, but I mean when it's something that your own head coach is probably caught in his
Hmm.
feels, like I can see how that could happen.
Oh yeah, definitely. And of course we kind of know the current streak of us not winning these big celebration games, whether it's retirement games or whatever. But regardless, what's funny is that game was also on national TV, Andrew. So that's kind of a double whammy for the Hurricanes in
Mhm,
terms of like,
mhm.
oh no. But regardless, I mean, obviously the Hurricanes did win, Andrew, and it kind of started. I'm sure you would agree in that second period. Seth Jarvis scoring. What a great goal! And I mean, even though I love the goal from Jarvis, Andrew, I love that play from Svetch. Like that was just a wonderful play.
Yeah, he and Jarvie teamed up to win a board battle. Excellent puck handling to go behind the net like that. And kudos to Jarvis for finding that soft spot in the slot and just absolutely rifling it home. And we got to give credit to their line mate Aho. He was actually kind of being a pest in front of the net. So just such a great play. That line, if they can really make it click, the potential is all there, man. It's just a matter of consistency. And Svetch has been turning it on, man. Like
Yes.
you would like to see him score at a slightly higher clip, but in terms of just being impactful every single game, and he's playing smart too. Like I think there's a
Hmm.
power forward ishness to his game
There
that I know
is.
that we all want to see more of. But as long as he breaks that back out for the playoffs, if this is just him doing what he's got to do to stay out of the box, especially since the penalty kill has been kind of struggling, which you don't expect from this team.
Yeah.
Yep, top line, a lot to be excited about. Even though right now they kind of got their feet in the mud a bit. It feels like.
Yeah, and obviously, I think you and I can agree. Jarvis is probably the best player right now on that line. I think a clear second is Fetch. I think with Aho, and I mean, we really saw him struggle. I think a little bit more in the Washington game than the
Mhm.
Columbus game, just because there were so many bad passes he was making, and he had a couple of great chances to shoot the puck, which he didn't. I mean, what do you think that is? Do you think that's more of just like a mental game for Aho? Like, I feel like it is a mental game. He just needs to get over whatever is going through that brain, you know?
Yeah, definitely. He's been. I don't want to say passive because if there's one thing about Aho, I'm not going to question it's his compete. He's earned that from us as fans to not question his
Hmm.
effort. But just kind of passing up on shots. I know he's more of a playmaker than he is a goal scorer, but I mean he's a 30 goal caliber talent. He just
Yes, he
is.
is.
So there's been quite a few opportunities where it's like, dude, just put the puck on net, and even if you're going to shoot for the intention of making a rebound, it's better than some of these passes that he's trying to force. So I don't know if it's a lack of faith in his own shot. Maybe he's trying to do sort of like what we talked about with when Rantanen was here about how he almost was trying so hard to get Rantanen going that it actually hurt the line. I
Hmm.
wonder if there's a bit of that going on with Svech and Jarvis, where he's so focused on getting them going, getting them their points, that it's actually derailing it. Because there is such a thing as good selfishness in any
Yes,
sport,
there is. Hmm.
and that's what he's been lacking, that good selfishness.
Yep, I completely agree. I kind of like how you said that. So, obviously, we head into the third period. It's tied 1-1. And Andrew, in between those two periods, first, I got to experience the fan tunnel. For those who follow us on social media, you probably have seen the video. If you haven't, you can probably just like Google search it just because it kind of has exploded a little bit. But I got pre-selected to be in the fan tunnel, and with it being tied 1-1, and knowing that the Hurricanes win that game, Andrew, I'm just trying to be funny here. I'm not trying to be serious. I think I gave them the magic touch.
I think I think he did. It was you and the kids going nuts.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm telling it is so cool to be in that fan tunnel. And Andrew, if you ever have the opportunity at all sometime in the future, whatever, to do the fan tunnel, do it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, no, it seems like a cool way to kind of, get up close to the players. I mean, from my perspective, so I've never been in the fan tunnel, but one time I was at a game at Madison Square Garden, and through a few family connections of mine, I was in the owner's box, and
Hmm.
and the tunnel of which the away team actually takes going out goes right past kind of the concourse you go to get your seats. And I did walk past Sebastian Aho. This was like maybe 5 years ago. And granted, I
Wow.
don't know if you can tell from the recordings. I'm a taller guy. I'm 6'4". So I think you think athletes, you think these guys are
I
huge.
didn't know
And
that.
yeah, yep, no, big boy. I played varsity basketball, and it's not because I can jump high. It's just tall enough to to reach. But uh this is not a big team. It's really not. These are pretty average sized dudes, but they're just warriors, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they're on skates, they're taller.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. But like, so is
Yeah.
the other team. But it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's like you come home and your wife takes off her heels, and it's like, oh, you're not so tough now, are you? Type of stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you told me your height because obviously we haven't met in person before. But if I ever met you in person before, I'll probably be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were that tall."
I just thought you had a really big head. Okay, now it makes sense.
I didn't think that. But
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for saving my ego on the podcast. I think about it every time we do this. Like, geez, the hair ain't helping either. But
oh, dude, I have such a big head. I'm sure those two are watching on YouTube know this. Like
this is quality hockey content.
oh, it is. Like you have a person in me who looks like Dwight from The Office. Like, oh man, I get called that a lot.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. I bet.
Because I work in HVAC and I have customers coming up to me saying, hey, you know that Dwight guy from like CE or something?" So it's funny.
Yeah.
Um, but the sorry for the sidetrack. The third period, Andrew, obviously Carolina, that was their best period the whole game. Obviously, you got to see Robinson scoring from Hall and Nystrom. That was a great 2-on-1. It really was. And then you have Stahl scoring from Svetch and Ghost. What's funny is I actually thought Svetch scored that goal, but it was tipped. And kind of like what we said in the one-liner, Stahl, he's doing great on that power play. He just is.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got what, a combined like 3 minutes of power play time and 2
Yeah.
goals, and it's not doing anything fancy. It's just it's kind of it feels like we've been hitting our heads against the wall for a few seasons now. And again, I've said this about a few things about this team. You know, I think when people try to blame Rod for stuff like guys not going to the net, I don't think that's a coaching problem. In case in point, I think it's just a little bit of a willingness, a little bit of a grit problem, which is unfortunate to say because those are two things that I do associate with this team. But it's just a case in point that size does help. And when you have
Yep.
five, kind of more smaller finesse guys, like when it's working, great. But especially come playoff time, I think they need to add another stall type guy because not trying to disrespect our captain. And again, hope that he makes me feel silly for saying this, but like I think this is a exception to the rule of what it's going to be. He's there to win faceoffs because again, going back to Aho needing to step up, he's been uh average at best in the dot, which makes you wonder if maybe he does have like some type of lingering injury going on. But until for further notice, power play merchant Jordan Stahl.
I know he's doing fantastic, and there's the power when you have a big guy on the power play standing right in front of the goal, and that's what happened. Now, here's the thing with that stall tip. I actually thought when Svetch shot that puck, I thought that was going to go in regardless of the tip, just because he had that velocity, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, his shot this year. Like he's always had a good shot, but like his one timing, his putting it on net quick, he's doing a lot more of that positive selfishness, which for a power
Yep.
forward, I think he's needed more of that because he's got great playmaking ability. He's got soft hands, so he can actually do some pretty nice moves. But for such a strong guy, just get open, charge the net, and put the puck on. And when you have space to use that more finesse skill, use it to get open. Don't use it to make plays. Use it to get open, and then
Yep.
rifle it. And that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. And obviously you have Martinook scoring on the empty net. So Canes win 4-1. So happy they did it on a celebration night of them on the 20th anniversary game. And now we head to Washington, Andrew. And comparing these two games, I will say I thought the Washington game was a lot better than the Columbus game, especially in the first two periods. Wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah, not even really close. Honestly, the Columbus game was very much the more talented team won. I don't know if you can even
Yeah.
say that the better
Mhm.
team won because Columbus, I thought, actually put up a pretty admirable fight for where that roster's at.
Yep.
Um, but Washington, they kind of dominated that game, just didn't get the results that they deserve, which again, going back to this, just kind of this growing concern about the offense as a whole. I mean, granted, teams go through ruts and sometimes you're just in a situation where all four of your lines are just kind of fighting it a little bit, which I don't know if that's quite what's happening here, but it's the next best thing, I think. But
Yeah, I would agree with that, and because obviously, I mean, scoring didn't get started till the second period, and it kind of got started by Washington with Connor McMichael, which is frustrating to us Canes fans because again, we're doing what it takes usually to try and win. It's just we're not finishing on those opportunities. You had, like I said before, Aho had two opportunities to score, and then we had a sequence. I believe it was in that second period too, Andrew, where we hit like three posts within a span of like what it felt like 5 seconds. Like we were.
mhm.
It was like ding, ding, ding. I was like, oh my gosh. The third thing, Andrew, when I was watching that game, I yelled out loud, "Oh my god!"
Mhm. Yeah, no, this game had me yelling at my TV more than I usually do, which we had guests over, so sorry everybody, but
You're passionate, okay? It's fine to be passionate.
I kept it pretty reserved, but I hate Washington. So once it got to
Oh,
be a
I
little
do
bit
too.
tight, and especially after that Dowd goal, which what a pass to make that happen. His response was very valid. That was a great play. But
Oh
both those
yeah,
goals, Bussy had more of a chance on the first goal than the second goal, but even then, like I don't hold either of those super against him. And
no,
he gave them a chance to win. And if you're going to hold a team like Washington to 2 goals, then that's all you can ask.
I mean I really do completely agree. Now, I mean with the second goal, you might have some people saying like, well, he probably shouldn't have stick handled that puck to hit Miller in the back. And yeah, he
Yes.
probably shouldn't have. But
Yes.
I would argue that Miller is probably more at fault with that goal just because he kind of lost his defensive assignment there on that Dow goal. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't great, but I mean,
Do you
well,
think
for
it's
yeah,
do you think sorry, do you think it's fair to say that the learning curve has finally hit Miller a little bit? Like, I don't think it's worth panicking at all, but he came out the gates red hot. And the
yep,
last
he
few
did.
games, he's had good moments. Like you can see what you can see why they think he fits. I think he's a perfect fit. I'm so excited that he's on this team. But I think that that learning curve that we were talking about that we expected to see early, I think it's starting to creep in a little bit
I do too.
now that the scouting reports out on him a little bit. I think he's going to figure it out. The talent's there, the athletic ability is oh my god there. But like he's such a great skater, great
Oh
hands. So
yeah.
he's going to figure it out. But he's been caught in some kind of tough spots here the last few games. But that just comes with learning the system.
I completely agree, Andrew. And after seeing like former defensemen trying to adapt to the system, I mean, you think of Orlov, you think of Brent Burns, even when he was with
Hmm.
us. Like we knew this was going to probably come. It's just we didn't know he was going to uh, come out off the gate just playing freaking amazing. And then now we're starting to see it seems like that learning curve is a little bit delayed.
Right, and it's kind of unfortunate that I think what's kind of happening to him, at least from what I'm seeing online, which I hopefully these guys are smart enough to not even have a account on Twitter to see this stuff, but like because he came out so hot and now he's tapered off a little bit, so I wouldn't even say bad, just kind of average, maybe the occasional like okay, you got to
Yep.
do better than that plays, but we'll go back and watch the tape and you'll be ready come playoffs. That kind of pocket of toxic Ranger fandom has kind of poked their head back up with like, oh, see, we told
Yep.
you,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
like, no, he's just figuring it out, man. I'm not worried at all. I think it's just worth mentioning.
Oh yeah, I think it was a great point to bring up. But I'm trying to think of any other point. I know we talked about Bussy a lot in this episode already, Andrew. But that
Do it
I thought
more.
his the best save I thought was that Ovechkin save to where he had to like reach with his right pad in the second period. That was such an amazing save. I saw my Sam. I was watching that Washington game with him, and he had his mouth open. It was like,
Hmm. Hmm. It still needs to be considered a small sample size. We still need to not pump the brakes, but tap them. little
Yeah.
little
Hmm.
belt line traffic tap break. But uh, getting back to back games from Rod with where he's coming from, that tells you everything you need to know about where this team sees him right now. And he's had to earn it. Like nothing's been given to him. The team in front of him's been absolutely just a revolving door of defensive injuries. Now that seems to, knock on wood, seems like that's finally starting to calm down. Hopefully we see Slavin sooner than later. Take your time though, buddy, by all means. But uh, it's his net. I think it's up to Coochie to make this a contest, and if we can get a tandem of Bussy and high performing Kachekov going, I'm happy with that. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
give Freddie a little bit more time to prove that it's just been a slump, which I'm gonna insist to the fans that I think that's the right thing to
I
do
do
still.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, that's a solid trade chip, I think. Like, I don't think you're going to get a heck of a lot of return. But again, there's teams like Edmonton who will need a goalie. A goalie's bound to get hurt. Um, as a big fan of the Steve Dangle podcast, I would love to see him get traded to Toronto just to watch Adam Wild lose his mind. He hates him so much, and it's
Oh,
so
he
funny.
does.
It's so
I know.
funny.
I know. It really is funny. Oh my gosh. Um, just imagine, it'd be funny. I mean, we're talking about goalies here. Just imagine if, like, Toronto, I know it's never going to happen, but just imagine if Toronto, like, signed David Ayers. That would lose Steve Dangle's mind.
hmm hmm Yeah. The three of them will be the only people that I'm happy for
Yep.
if they win. The rest of this, Toronto, I've yet to make it up there. Seems like a really cool city. I want to come check it out, but as far as a fan base, I think it's just from being part of a kind of a plucky, smaller Southern hockey base where they're just kind of the evil empire. Them, Montreal, Detroit, where I love that. You know, we're in a different era of consistency. But prior to
Hmm.
this, we were just that randomly occurring thorn in the side of all of these bigger markets. So that's just how I view Toronto. Their pain brings me great joy, and I'm not and I mean that with the utmost respect.
It brings me joy too. It's mainly Steve Dangle's pain just because he's so animated about it. So,
Oh yeah, no, I mean he's one of the guys that got me into wanting to do this. I like what he does. I think their show, both for how they cover the league, just the banter between the three of them. I think they're kind of the pinnacle of what we do in my opinion. Like I would put them above
I
Chicklets, and
agree.
I actually really like Chicklets.
I would agree too. I've listened to the Chicklets every now and then. I just feel like with the Chicklets, like their players, Steve Dangle and them aren't. So I feel like it's just different,
Mm,
you know?
yeah, there's times like you enjoy kind of the behind the scenes look. I like that they get the guys talking. I like that they're a very pro player um podcast. I think Biz is hilarious. I think
Oh, he is.
them making kind of the risky choice of making him one of the faces of the sport has paid off great. I think he's a great ambassador for kind of the like fun side of the game, because this sport in general does have a bit of a personality issue, not in bad personality, but in like there's such that kind of old school, act like you've been there before, blah 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 blah. My great great grandfather never
Yep,
had
I
fun,
agree.
so why should I type of stuff.
Yep, I completely agree. So, back to the Washington game. Obviously, I'm just gonna go through these goals real quick here. Ehlers, he scores. Andrew, he's been freaking amazing, and
hmm
Stankoven, he scored to tie it up. My gosh, that not only I mean I thought that line was really really good. With that being said, when it comes to Jackson Blake, that guy is very talented, but he can hurt you a little bit, especially on the power play.
Yeah, he shows his age a little bit. It's funny because I feel like it's the same move where there's times where he has almost like a power forwardness to it when he is coming from the wall and he drives the middle and he's carrying the puck on his backhand towards the net. Just the power he does that with, but he's been getting away with, maybe not getting away with it. It's worked so much that I think he's been a little sloppy with his taking the puck into the center of the
Yeah.
ice,
Hmm.
and it sends it right back the other way sometimes. So young guy, he's gonna learn. I think, when you become part of a team so early in your career, you almost forget how young they are. Same with
Oh
same
yeah.
with Stankoven. Like,
Yep.
they're both, should still be in college right now age. But um the Ehlers goal was beautiful. He's really proving that he fits this team perfectly. And talk about a guy who needed a goal, man, because I think he's been playing good. I think some people who've never played the sport or been close to it, I don't think you can fully appreciate just how much moving from the wing to center affects the freedom in which you're able to do things offensively. You have so much more responsibility watching the center of the ice. And I think that his offense suffered, but his effort along with Blake, even when Ehlers was kind of, in the weeds a bit there, they've been, stalling Martin Hook light in my opinion. So I'm really glad that Stankoven got that goal. Hopefully that gets the monkey off his back and he starts clicking again.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I was so happy, and I mean, like when it comes to Stankoven's position there, like, I mean, I do generally hate playing the comparison game, but it seems like you kind of have to because I mean, last season and previous seasons before, KK was put in that position.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, do you want Stankoven to play there, or do you want put KK there? And we've seen what KK's done.
Right. And again with KK, he had moments that gave you hope, but it just hasn't clicked. Whereas Stankoven, I'm kind of the opinion we give it a little longer. But if it stays at this rate, I don't think you have to abandon the concept. But I think as far as if they're serious about winning the cup this year, it's just not there.
I
Keep
agree.
working on it with Rod behind the scenes. If you're playing the wing, having better face-off skills and having all that experience for when you're gonna have to take a few. Maybe since he's got more of an offensive upside, maybe he can be the center on the second power play. But um, as of right now, if there's one thing I'm looking at for them to make a move, as unless something changes, it's still that dreaded 2C thing. We're right back at it again. I feel better about what they have in place to possibly remedy it. I just don't think it's there yet. But again, 22, first year doing it in the league. So even if it's not going to work now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be the solution long term.
Yeah, you gotta give him some leniency, and I that's what I've been trying to do a little bit with Stanko, and just like because he does need to learn that position, and when you're in Brind'Amour's system, it probably is going to take time because Brind'Amour demands so much more of you when you're a center. He just does. So, um, we'll see how Stankoven does. Obviously, playing that second line center, and then now let's get to the shootout, Andrew, because obviously we were probably a little bit nervous. I mean, overtime, I kind of skipped over that, but like, I mean, the biggest thing to me with overtime, Aho shouldn't have made that pass, and do not
Mhm.
give Washington the puck because they'll probably just drag it into a shootout anyways.
Right, exactly. Which I mean, that almost looked like that's what Carolina was doing. I mean,
Yeah,
offense, or I mean, not offense. Possession is the most important thing, but again, just the the passiveness from Aho. I'm not big picture worried about it really at all quite yet. It's just right now it's frustrating because it's like you're better than that. I could be mistaken off the top of my head, but I want to say he tried to give it off to Sean Walker,
it
who
was Ghost.
was it Ghost? Okay, so
Yeah.
that is a
Mhm.
little bit better, or a lot better, even with all due respect to Walker. But uh, maybe Rod's just got to sit him down in a room and just put on a highlight reel of him. Like make him watch his own highlights. Like as vain as that sounds, like this is how good you are, man. I love that you want to be a distributor. I love that you want to be a leader on this team. You're taking your, kind of your heir apparent to eventually be the captain of this team very
Yep.
seriously, and
Mhm.
that's awesome. But you're the man. Act like it sometimes. And that's a
Exactly.
situation where you gotta shoot it. You just have to.
I completely agree. Maybe not in overtime because again, it is a little bit more of a possession game, but regardless, that was a very poor play by Aho. But we get to the shootout, Andrew, and you had Seth Jarvis scoring, and I felt like at that point when Jarvis scored, I was like, Andrew, we might win. We actually might win because we know Bussy's hot right now, and we did 2 points against a divisional team. So happy.
Yeah, big. Halfway through this 4-game Metro swing, 4 out of 4 points. Now we got to back home and home with Philly, which surprisingly hot start to their season. I think this is a chance to kind of maybe create a little bit of a buffer between that like in and out line because it's so tight right now.
Oh, it
But
really is.
but that move by Jarvis was so nasty, and Svetch actually came pretty close to pulling off
He did.
pretty much the exact same move. So hopefully that gives them some confidence. There were a handful of times in that game where I feel like they could have said it's not our night. We keep hitting post. They get frustrated, but they just kept doing what they're doing. And these are the kind of games where even though it's a shootout win, these are the kind of games that, builds confidence and build belief in a team. So great win. Solid win against Columbus. Great win against Washington. Played better than the results actually warranted.
Yep.
Washington was lucky to walk away with a point in that game. So congrats. High fives. Bring on the Flyers.
Yep, completely agree. So, with that being back to back, final question, Andrew, because we've kind of gone longer than we usually do. What
We
would
got
our
sidetracked
goalie?
a bunch this
Yeah,
episode. I missed you on Sunday.
yeah. Um, Goalie rotation this weekend. Who would you start?
PK 1, Bussy 2. I would do it just like that. PK gets the next one. Give Bussy a little bit of time off after playing 2 games in a row. Bussy goes again, and if Bussy has another solid performance, then we continue to look at Freddie with a little bit of I think the clock's ticking, pal.
Yeah, I do the same thing too, Andrew. And just looking at the schedule here, after the Sunday game against Philadelphia, we play Wednesday, which is obviously 2 days after that, against Nashville. I feel like that might be a game where you could put Anderson in.
I agree. Very beatable team. They have some, high-end offensive players, but they're not really performing.
No.
And Freddie, like, maybe he's just at the end of the road. That is possible, unfortunately.
It is.
Father Time is undefeated. I think people have always been a little bit too harsh on him. Like he's a fantastic goalie with a fantastic career, even if it is coming to an end. Let's get that clear right now. Haters gonna hate, but if he can't put up a solid performance against Nashville, well rested, then that says something.
It really, really does. So, great episode. I enjoyed it. If you're still listening to this to the 58-minute mark, props to you because again, these episodes are this episode is a little bit longer, but we enjoy it. We love to talk about Hurricanes. Andrew, I feel like if we had like an unfiltered episode, you and I could probably talk about the Hurricanes for like 2.5 to 3 hours almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the fans got stuff to do. I'm gonna go to bed. It was good to talk to you.
I gotta edit, so
yes, sir.
Yep. Well, we will see you guys Monday.